Hi everybody, welcome back to another crafting session with me. I'm Stephanie from Gathered in the Kitchen, and today is day 10 of our 12 days of DIY fall crafts. And today we are going to be making pumpkins out of scrap wood. I am standing down here by my big old pile of scrap wood that I have left over from my house rebuild, and we are going to turn this into pumpkins. So let me grab a piece of wood and we'll head down to the craft room and I'll show you how to make them. Okay, so I have found some scrap wood. I have two 2x4s that probably one's about 10-11 inches and the other one's about 6 inches. They do have an angled cut to them, but that'll be okay. That'll look really cute with our pumpkins. I also have here a 2x8 that I'm going to cut down. I'm going to cut it in half on my my husband's DeWalt miter saw, and I'm going to cut this down to half because I want one short stubby little pumpkin. I think it'll be really cute. So safety first, and let's get cutting. Okay, so I've got the bases of my pumpkins cut and they are ready to go. I'm using my Ryobi drill with a 3/8 drill bit, and I'm going to drill holes in the centers on the tops of these pumpkins to create a stem using a stick or like a branch from some of my trees in my yard. I'm probably going to have to do 2 to 4 holes just to make a larger hole in each one depending on the stick size I use. So let's get started. All right, so there we go. They're all painted, and now it's time to just let them dry. I will prop this up, as I said before, up on some paint cans, and then I'll wipe off my counter space just to make sure that none of the paint does dry. Even if it does, that is okay. That is specifically why I installed granite countertops in my crafting room, because I do use a lot of paint and hot glue, and nothing seems to ruin granite. It is my favorite material. So we will let that dry now, and then I'll come back to add some fun decorative accents to these pieces. All right, our pumpkins are dry, and now it's time to start adding the decorative touches. I'm going to be using Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color Fluff, which is a nice white color. I have two little things here. One is a napkin ring and one is a candlestick holder. I'm using these to trace circles because I want one of these pumpkins to have polka dots. So these are just various sizes of circles, and I'll use a pencil to trace them. Then I also have some raffia string. I'm going to use this to tie around the pumpkin stems. And I have painter's tape, scissors, and a paintbrush. So I'm going to use the painter's tape to make straight lines on this pumpkin. I want one of the pumpkins to have stripes. So I'm just going to lay this on here. Let's see, I want that to be right at the bend in that pumpkin. So you're going to paint in between the lines. I'm just laying this on here and eyeballing it to figure out where is about even. That's not gonna... Now that I've done this, I'm gonna raise this up just a little bit because I want those to be a little more even. The white stripes. Those are gonna be a little skinnier than my thick orange ones. There we go. Let's move that down just a hair. If you'd like to measure this point, you can do that. However, I'm not. So, all right, I've got my paint here. Again, this is a chalk paint, and I'm just going to paint where this orange is. And then when I take off this painter's tape, that orange will still be there, and I'll have orange stripes throughout. So get our white paint and paint it on. Now you can wrap these stripes all the way around the pumpkin. I'm not, just for time's sake of showing you guys how to do this. I'll be a little quicker this way. Okay, I'm going to set this one aside for it to dry for a few minutes while I work on the next pumpkin. So this big pumpkin I'm going to do with circles. What I'm going to do is, I like the size of the bottom and the top of this candlestick holder, so I'm just going to trace some circles on here. I'm just going to randomly place them. There's no right or wrong placement. Do a big one in the middle. Another one, big one here, coming off of the pumpkin. And another big one here. And let's do a small one coming off here. Okay, now that I have this drawn on here, let me show you guys. If you can see the outlines of my circles, I'm going to freehand paint this now. So I'm using a finer tip paintbrush, not something really big, and I'm just going to paint this. It doesn't need to be perfect. I'm just gonna paint it on for each circle. Okay, so I have my polka dots painted on here. Now, if you would want, you can come back through with like a magic marker. That would be the way easiest way. Come back through and trace these if you want. That would make these pop just a little bit more and give them a more of a special feel. I'm not going to right now. I'm going to see what these look like first without doing that. So I'm going to move that one over. Now this one, I don't know what I want to do to this one. I'm thinking maybe a pumpkin face. I think that would just be the cutest. So I'm going to freehand draw on here a jack-o'-lantern face. So here's my jack-o'-lantern. Now it's time to paint him. So get your paintbrush loaded and start painting again. Okay, here's our little jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. Okay, so now it's time to start taking this painter's tape off. All right, there we go. These little pumpkins look really cute together. We've got the polka dots, the stripes, and the jack-o'-lantern. So now we are going to add back in our pumpkin stems. This one goes in here. Let's see, this one goes in here. And now, just for a little finishing touch, what I'm going to do is take this raffia, which I purchased at Walmart, and okay, we're going to take a couple strands each and cut it, probably about a foot. I'm going to loop it already because it's a lot easier to do this. So don't make it tight yet, but just loop it and then tighten it onto your pumpkin stem. You can tie it into a bow if you want, or you can just leave it long. So let's do that for all of these. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Let's go style these out on my porch.